10 weeks into the 2023 NFL season, your passing leader, number one, numero uno in the entire league, Sam Howell, quarterback, Washington Commanders. You know, the same guy that was on those memes to start the year that said, imagine being excited when your quarterback is Sam Howell. You know, the guy they put as the 32nd ranked quarterback, last in the league in all the preseason predictions and prognosticators' opinions of how this year would play out. Imagine that 10 years, 10 weeks into the season, Sam Howell's leading the league in passing. And I'm not here to just make this a statistical thing because numbers do deceive, numbers do lie. And I understand the other side of the conversation, the inflation of stats because we're throwing the ball more than everybody else in the league. But I'm here to debunk it, and I'm here to tell you Sam Howell is a franchise quarterback. He's a quarterback you want to build your team around, and he's a foundational building block for whoever we're bringing in to run this organization from a front office and coaching standard coming forward in 2024. Sam Howell's the guy. You should all be sold. Everybody asking to see more. What more is there left to be seen? He checks the boxes. His main red flag is the sacks thing because he's on pace to be the most sacked quarterback in the history of the league. He's seeing the field better now. He's seeing his reads better now, and he's learning how to manipulate and maneuver in the pocket. Signs of growth. He's doing these things, and he's balling. He's leading the league in attempts and passing yards and is throwing about 67% completion percentage on top of the fact that he's throwing the most passes. It's crazy to hear these things, but Eric Bieniemy is throwing the entire book at Sam Howell. Sam Howell is not getting training wheel treatment. They're treating Sam Howell as if he's a 10-year vet, elite quarterback, and he's willing to shoulder the burden of the entire offense. Despite the fact that he's been sacked a record amount of times through 10 weeks. Despite the fact that Washington has not had one receiver go over 120 receiving yards all year. No receiver has had a multi-touchdown game. Our number one receiver, Terry McLaurin, has 0 100-yard games this season. Our receivers were in hell versus Seattle. He still gave them 300, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And despite the fact that we still have an offensive coordinator who's still learning the ropes of play calling, getting his first real shot as a play caller, he's still working through some kinks 10 weeks into the season. And despite all these things, Sam Howell is leading the league in passing yards. And he's 2 touchdowns off the lead for touchdowns this year. Josh Allen and Tua sit at 19 touchdowns. No one's thrown for 20 yet. Will he get there Sunday? We'll see. He should, but you never know because things always get mucked up when the Commanders play the Giants. But Sam Howell is a baller, ladies and gentlemen. He's a baller because it's not just stats. But to start with the argument that, oh, he's only has these numbers because he's throwing it so much. Let's look at the last couple quarterback classes. How many of these guys do you think would throw up all over themselves if they were throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game? Look at Kenny Pickett. Look at Bryce Young. Look at Mac Jones. Look at Justin Fields. Look at freaking Zach Wilson, who has 5 touchdowns in 10 weeks. 5 freaking touchdowns in 10 weeks. He's on pace to throw for 10 or less touchdowns in an entire season. Zach Wilson didn't come in mid-season. Zach Wilson came in 5 plays after Aaron Rodgers snapped his Achilles. Week 1 of the NFL season, he has 5 touchdowns. Zach Wilson was the 2nd pick of the draft. Kenny Pickett has 13 touchdowns in his career in 23 starts. Sam has 11 starts and has more touchdowns than Kenny Pickett in 23. Yes, the Steelers have a good record. They have a winning record because they have the most consistent head coach in the entire NFL, Mike Tomlin. And people need to put more respect on this this Omar Epps looking bastard that's coaching the Steelers. He wins in spite of the quarterback. Kenny Pickett looks terrible. He was the only first rounder in the 2022 QB class. And Sam Howell is running laps around him. Picked in 144th, 4 rounds later than Kenny Pickett. The entire 2022 draft class, Sam's running laps around him, except Purdy. Him and Purdy are neck and neck. Purdy's the privileged kid in San Francisco. Purdy has everything he needs there. Genius offensive mind, great offensive line, great defensive line, weapons galore. The ultimate running back weapon in Christian McCaffrey. He has everything he needs there. Sam's still outproducing him. Sam's still outproducing him with what we have here. Sam's weapon on offense was supposed to be the receiving core. And they're not particularly performing, whether that's the scheme and the offensive coordinator or them not getting separation, getting open, or digesting this system as well as they need to yet, or a combination of both. The receivers are not going crazy, nor do we have a running game. So we're a one-trick pony when we walk onto the field on Sunday, and Sam is still steadily improving week by week. What more do you need to see? After 7 weeks, shout out to Ref the District for this tweet. After 7 weeks, Sam Howell was sacked an average of 5.7 times per game. Round up, that's 6 times a week. That's 97 projected over the course of a season. Sam's last 3 games, what have you done for me lately? Sam's last 3 weeks, he was sacked an average of 2.3 times per game. Rounds to 2. That's only 39 over the course of a season. That's a massive improvement. Baller. Sam Howell ranks first in passing yards under pressure this season. He has 325 more passing yards under pressure than anybody else in the league. And he's second in completion percentage under pressure behind Rayne Dakota Prescott. Put some respect on my quarterback's name. We have one. I know Washington fans, you are reluctant to believe in us finally having a quarterback because we've went through so much here. We've went through so much here during the Dan Snyder era. Do I have to welcome you back to the Dan Snyder era? Brad Johnson, Jeff George, Tony Banks, Shane Matthews, Patrick Ramsey, Danny Werfel, Tim Hasselbeck, Mark Brunell, Jason Campbell, Todd Collins, cardiovascular endurance, Donovan McNabb, Sexy Rexy Grossman, John Beck, RG3, Kirk, Colt, Alex Smith, shall I continue? Josh Johnson, Mark Sanchez, Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, rest in paradise, brother. Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Garrett Gilbert, Carson Wentz, and now slinging Sam Howell. Sam Howell is on pace to go over 4,500 yards, close to 30 touchdowns. Remember it, for those that are new here, the Washington Redskins football team commanders organization has not fielded a quarterback that has thrown for 30 touchdowns in a season one time in the last 56 years. Sonny Jurgensen in 1967 was the last time Washington fielded a quarterback to throw for 30 touchdowns in a season. Sam's on pace to be right around that number. It'll probably end up somewhere around 27, 28 touchdowns. But the fact that he's doing it in his first year as a starter, learning his second offense in 2 years with a play caller who's calling plays for the first time in his NFL life, how is this not impressive? How are you not sold? What the hell else do you need to see? Because it's not just numbers. How many big-time throws have you seen this bastard make this year? The throw versus Denver. Multiple throws versus the Eagles. Versus the Patriots. Dots all over the field. The boy can scramble. I watched the quarterback with my own 2 eyes convert a 3rd and 23 with his legs. And we're not even tapping into or utilizing his legs as much as we could. I'm not calling him Jalen Hurts, but the dude ran for 900 yards and 11 touchdowns his last year at UNC. He's very capable of running. We haven't even tapped into what he can do with his legs yet. The game is just starting to slow down for young Sammy 10 weeks into the season. And his production is up there with the best quarterbacks in the league. He's had one blip so far, one absolutely terrible performance, which was the 0 touchdown, 4 interception performance versus Buffalo, which looks as of now to be a complete outlier, an anomaly from what Sam Howell is as a player. He's not a turnover machine. That's not who he is. He doesn't have that Josh Allen turnover problem. Josh Allen just got his offensive coordinator fired, despite the fact that they're the 8th best offense in the league. 8th in scoring, 3rd best offense in the league. They fired Ken Dorsey because someone had to take the accountability because their quarterback's pissing the ball all over the field right now. Sam Howell is not that. And Sam Howell should be that. What 23-year-old quarterback would you ever see tasked with throwing the ball 40, 45 times a game? Give Bryce Young that many attempts a game. Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. Give them 45 throws a game. Zach Wilson. They're throwing 5 or 6 picks a week because they're not looking good in the minimal training wheel amount of attempts that they are attempting each week. Sam is throwing the ball like Herbert or Mahomes, and he's producing like them too. Sam has the 5th most passing yards in the history of the NFL in the first 11 starts. I repeat, Sam Howell, through 11 starts, has the 5th, numero 5th most passing yards in the history of the sport through 11 starts. So don't just tell me these yards and these stats are there because he's throwing it so much, because you can give these attempts to a lot of guys and they're not putting these numbers up. Look at the last couple quarterback classes. Remember that special quarterback class of Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson? Sam is outproducing all of them. He has double the touchdowns on those guys. Trevor Lawrence, he's doubling up Trevor Lawrence this year. Sunshine, the chosen one, the guy who knew he was going to be the first overall pick his whole life. Sam is putting up numbers. And the only reason, there's 2 of them, the only 2 reasons Sam is not getting the respect, the attention that he deserves, he'll get it. His time's coming. The whole world's going to see him on Turkey Day when we play NFL Disney on Thanksgiving, because everybody watches the 4:30 slot on Thanksgiving Day when America's team is playing. Everybody's going to get their first taste of Sam, and he will not disappoint because the boy will produce. But the 2 reasons why Sam is not giving his just due yet, because it's coming. The only reason he doesn't get his flowers yet is because 1, where he was drafted position-wise, and 2, where he was drafted team-wise. They don't respect Washington, and they don't respect the fact that he was taken in the 5th round, which is crazy because they glaze Brock Purdy more than Krispy Kreme because the Niners are a team people like. They can make Brock Purdy a media darling, but they can scoff at Sam Howell succeeding. 1, because he was drafted in the 5th round. 2, because he was drafted in Washington, a place known worldwide for being a quarterback purgatory, where quarterbacks either go to die or quarterbacks never have a chance to thrive here. That is why people are doing it. And Washington fans, we're so scorned, we're so hurt, we're so PTSD when it comes to this position. Like, they're still like, oh, there's more I need to see. What more does he need to show? The closest thing we've seen to a franchise quarterback in my lifetime was Kirk Cousins, and 1 year of RG3 where he was a magician and benefited from an insane offense drew up by a mastermind, Kyle Shanahan. but those were the closest. Sam is outproducing what both of those guys did here. Sam is producing on a clip we've never seen here. I understand this is unfamiliar territory for Washington fans, but this guy is the real deal. I've seen our delusional ass fan base ready to build a future with Taylor mid-ass noodle arm Heineke, and they don't want to accept that Sam is him. Sam is the piece that you want to build around. Taylor Heineke, I don't care how many. Taylor Heineke would probably have to start 100 games to produce like Taylor's producing right now. We just watched an NFC East rival pay a quarterback $40 million a year to throw less touchdowns in a complete season than Sam has in 10 weeks. Sam Howell already has outproduced Daniel Jones' entire 2022. And Jones got the bag after that season. You got to put these things in perspective. There's context to these things. Is it a down year in quarterback production? In a sense, yes. But our guy looks like the cream of the crop this year. He looks like he's playing like who are the main guys? Mahomes, Burrow, and Burrow, Herbert, Josh Allen. Sam Howell's playing better than Josh Allen this year. I know that's going to sound crazy to some people. He's playing better than him. Sam Howell is playing top 5 football in the NFL. Dak's up there. Hurts is up there. If you don't want to put him in the top 5, put him at 6, 7, or 8 because you can't name me 10 guys playing football better than Sam Howell this year. And that is with the ridiculous sack total. That is with no run game. That is with the receivers consistently not getting open on a weekly basis. Not one receiver has a 120-yard game. Not one receiver has a 2-touchdown game. And our number one receiver doesn't have one 100-yard game this year. And we're coached by dinosaurs, Ron Rivera and company. He has a horrible defense that will lose him games despite how heroic his efforts are. And despite all that, he's leading the league in passing yards. He's 2 off the lead for touchdowns. I don't want to hear it. I don't need to see anymore. Sam Howell's the guy. He would have to completely come out and throw up on himself for the majority of the 7 games remaining for him not to be the guy. He's him. He's him. He has the clutch gene. He performs in the 2-minute drill better than he does outside the 2-minute drill. He can make every throw. He makes special throws. The throw he made to tie the game up to De'Ami Brown, only 3 or 4 other guys in the league can make. What more do you need to see? Look at the quarterbacks in the division. Dakota Rain and Jalen Hurts. We're not even going to talk about the Giants because they don't have a fucking quarterback on their roster right now. Still always find a way to beat us. They don't have a quarterback right now. They're starting a Sopranos cast member as their quarterback right now. Sam Howell right now is better than Daniel Jones ever has been in his career. I say that wholeheartedly as I wear my UNC snapback. Sam Howell right now is better than Daniel Jones ever was in his NFL career. Daniel Jones got a $40 million a year contract in free agency this offseason. Look at the last couple draft class. Who's running laps around Sam? CJ Stroud is the only young quarterback in the league that's playing better than Sam Howell right now. Look at the next-gen quarterbacks in the league. Look at them. Look at all of them. Pull them out. The only ones playing better than Sam is CJ Stroud and arguably Brock Purdy. And Sam Howell's outproducing him so far. Yes, they've had a bye week. We haven't had a bye week yet. I understand that. And most of these guys' numbers, even with the additional game, are not surpassing Sam. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? What does this guy do on a field that you don't want to build around? His main red flag, his only red flag, is holding on to the ball and taking sacks. We haven't seen him do that in a month. He hasn't looked like that since we played the Giants and Wink Martindale got in his ass. He hasn't done that since. Since that game, we haven't seen it. He's steadily improving. He's producing, and he's not producing on the normal clip. If he was a rookie, he'd be in conversations with CJ Stroud for Rookie of the Year. Second-year guy, first-year starter, second system in 2 years. And he's passing with flying colors, and he's doing everything in his ability to prove that he is the franchise quarterback. He's the guy you want to build the future around. Need you see more? I don't need to see more. I've seen it because there's two things. There's the eye test and there's the stats. He has them both right now. Watch the eye test. Watch the throws this guy's making. What quarterback have we had here that can make those throws? I was a Kirk Cousins guy. I was higher on Kirk than most. Kirk cannot make some of these throws Sam makes. Kirk did not have the arm talent, the arm angles. Sam was a baseball player. That arm angle Mahomes shit. If Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert threw that touchdown he threw to Brian Robinson, and they circled the block and they did it again. B-Rob didn't score the second time. Or the pass to Diami to tie up the game. We would have seen it on Sports Center, ran on a revolving loop for the next week. But it's because he plays for Washington and because he was a 5th-round pick, they're going to just diminish everything he does while they sit and glaze everything Brock Purdy does with a stacked deck. Brock Purdy is the equivalent of the privileged quarterback. He's privileged. He plays for a team the media loves. He plays for a team the country loves. And he has everything around him. And Sam is still out producing him. Need you see more? Franchise quarterback. Everything I've seen this year, I was hard on the guy. I said some things earlier in the season, but he keeps getting better. He keeps getting better. Last 3 performances, he's went over 300 yards. He's last few games, it's 8 touchdowns to 1 interception. He's getting better, and the sacks they're shrinking each week. What more do you need to see? And for those who need to see more, if he was a first-round pick, everybody would be like, yes, our first-round pick hit. Yes, he's him. If Bryce Young was putting together the season Sam Howell was putting in, if Kenny Pickett was putting in the season that he was putting in, he got hurt. But if Anthony Richardson was putting the season Sam Howell's putting on right now, everyone would be glazing his balls. Everyone would be on their knees for him. He doesn't have QB hair. He wasn't picked in the first round, and he wasn't drafted by the league's media darlings. But Sam Howell is every bit a franchise quarterback. And if you don't see it yet, you're blind. He's the future. He's the present. He's the right now. And he's who's going to be here for the next decade plus. And whoever we bring in to GM and coach this team going forward, I promise you they're going to see the same things, because you don't throw away a quarterback with the ability to do this in year 2 in your second offense. He's going to end the season with 25 plus touchdowns, with 4,300 plus yards. And he's going to be over 65% completion percentage. Despite the fact that he's leading the league in attempts. He's thrown the ball more than Herbert and Mahomes. They're not treating him with training wheels. They're not treating him like a rookie. They're treating him and throwing the whole book at him. Let me stop saying they. Eric Bieniemy is throwing the whole book at him. Ron don't do shit. Don't even talk to me about Ron Rivera. Sam Howell, you're it. You're the guy I've been waiting for my whole life as a Washington fan. I don't buy players' jerseys. Cop the Sam Howell black jersey. Need it. Gotta have it. Must cop item of the holiday season if you're a fan of the burgundy and gold. We got our guy. What say you? Let me know in the comments. That's all I got for right now. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell, keep doing your thing. We got our guy.